You know that feeling, right? Just scrolling through your feed, this endless stream of content pops up. Some of it's inspiring, some baffling, some just, outrageous.
Yeah.
It really makes you wonder sometimes, how does this online fame thing actually work? And what does it really cost the people chasing it?
Hmm.
As we started digging into the story of one individual, Tia Billinger, it really opened our eyes to some surprising answers.
It certainly did.
So today we're doing a deep dive into this fascinating and often bewildering world of the attention economy, using Billinger's journey as our case study.
Exactly. And the source material we've looked at, it really details her trajectory. I mean, from a pretty ordinary life to significant online notoriety.
Right.
And her path gives us this really clear window into the actual mechanics of internet fame, how monetization happens behind the scenes, and the, frankly, crucial role controversy can play.
So our mission for you, the listener, is to try and distill the most vital insights from all this material. We want to help you understand what it genuinely means to be internet famous today, and maybe more broadly, the societal implications of our whole digital landscape.
Let's get into it.
Okay, let's unpack this. So to really understand Billinger's rise, we kind of need to look at where she started.
Hmm.
Her story begins, pretty conventionally, actually. She grew up in Stapleford, Nottinghamshire, comfortable English household.
Right. A background that, on the surface, suggested a very stable, almost suburban life. She even married young, to a school athlete.
But that conventional path, it didn't stick for long, did it?
No, not at all. Our sources show that after separating, this was in her early 20s, she actually moved to Australia,
Yeah.
got a job in recruitment.
Okay.
But what became really clear from the material is her, let's say, deep dissatisfaction with that kind of traditional career.
Yeah.
She had this very clear aspiration, for both financial independence and public recognition. That seems to be what really drove her to look for something completely different.
And that's what led her online, right? A journey that turned out to be, a pretty rapid shift into making money.
It really was.
Yeah.
She started experimenting with live online broadcasting. And apparently, it didn't take long at all for her to figure out it was way more lucrative than her office job.
Okay, but was that sustainable or just sort of a quick win?
That's a really crucial question. And our deep dive suggests she recognized the limits of that initial model pretty fast, which is why she made a strategic transition, moving to subscription-based platforms. Think of sites like OnlyFans, maybe Patreon, where creators offer exclusive stuff for paying subscribers.
Right, the paywall model.
Exactly. And what's truly fascinating here is the sheer intentionality behind her strategy. It wasn't accidental.
Okay.
These platforms, they allow the top earners, people like her, to generate really significant revenue. But you have to cater to very specific audiences.
So she found a niche.
Precisely. She adopted this deliberate niche approach, creating content specifically designed to feel more, quotes, relatable and maybe unconventional, trying to stand out in what was already, let's face it, a very crowded space.
Okay, but the path to fame, it rarely stays conventional for long, does it? And for Billinger, this is where the strategy took a really interesting turn. Controversy didn't just happen to her. It sounds like it became a calculated marketing strategy.
That's exactly what the sources suggest. She orchestrated these high-profile publicity stunts, things designed to get attention, and then heavily promoted them across social media to really boost her visibility.
So not just reacting to drama, but creating it.
Creating it, orchestrating it. It wasn't just about any controversy. It was about specific events designed purely to generate buzz.
Can you give an example?
Yeah, the prime example that came up was her public claim to have broken some kind of world record, something involving a large number of participants in one day. Now, the logistics of that specific claim, they've been questioned quite heavily, actually. But what's undeniable is that it generated huge discussion, massive media coverage.
Right, so the truth of it was less important than the noise it made.
Precisely. It perfectly illustrates the power of generating buzz, almost regardless of the veracity of the claim itself. And that's a really important takeaway, I think, for anyone trying to figure out the digital space. Truth often takes a backseat to traction.
Wow. And here's a detail from our sources that really jumped out at me. Members of her own family reportedly got involved.
Yeah, that was surprising.
Not distancing themselves from the controversies, but actually involved on the promotional side of her career, like part of the machine.
It is unsettling. It really makes you wonder about the pressures or maybe the incentives involved there.
Yeah.
That blurring of personal and public lines, especially with family.
Yeah.
It becomes a pretty stark illustration of how far some people might be willing to go for online monetization.
So this brings us to the bigger picture, the sort of cultural context.
It does. Because what we really uncovered in this deep dive is how, in the online world today, outrage and extremity often drive traffic
Right.
and therefore profits.
Right. Good or bad attention, it's still attention.
It almost doesn't matter if the coverage is positive or negative,
Yeah.
as long as it generates clicks, views, engagement, which, raises a pretty important question for all of us as the audience.
What does it say about us?
Yeah, what does this tell us about what we ultimately reward with our attention? What gets amplified?
It's also crucial to point out, though, that while maybe individual creators like Billinger can make substantial sums,
The top tier.
our sources are clear that the vast majority of creators earn far, far less. Most of the actual revenue goes to the companies, right? The platforms themselves.
Absolutely. It's definitely not a level playing field out there for everyone chasing that online fame dream. The house usually wins.
And has her approach? Has it been copied?
Oh, yes. The sources talk about a significant copycat influence. Her methods have been widely emulated by others looking for that same kind of rapid online visibility.
So her model became a template.
It's a stark reminder, isn't it? How successful models, even the really controversial ones, quickly become these sort of blueprints for aspiring creators.
So tying it all together, what does this all mean for us? I mean, this deep dive really seems to position Tia Billinger less as just some isolated figure and more as a really powerful case study. A case study in how current internet culture actively rewards controversial, boundary-pushing behavior. It's like a mirror held up to our digital society.
And it comes with a pretty strong warning attached. Our sources definitely highlight that these kinds of attention-based success stories can easily encourage others, encourage them to make really high-risk decisions, maybe without fully understanding the long-term personal and professional consequences.
Like a gold rush mentality.
Kind of. This whole phenomenon is framed as part of a much broader shift, towards commodifying your personal life, your identity, everything, for online monetization. It really makes you stop and think about the true price of attention. Sometimes it's hidden.
So Tia Billinger's journey, then, serves as this potent microcosm of the whole attention economy, revealing the strategies, often controversial ones, that lead to online fame. We've seen how that desire for financial independence and recognition can lead someone to embrace tactics that leverage controversy for profit.
And even how family can get pulled into that process.
Yeah, that part was surprising.
And this deep dive really underscored how the platforms themselves profit from this whole dynamic, and how for so many individuals, the allure of quick fame can absolutely lead to these very high-risk decisions, often with consequences they didn't foresee.
So we leave you with this thought. If controversy and extremity are the things being consistently rewarded with attention and therefore profit in our digital landscape, what does that ultimately say about the values we are cultivating, maybe unintentionally, in our online culture? And, well, what implications does that have for the future of how we interact online and even how we express ourselves?
Something to definitely mull over.